How you guys doing? My name is Elijah Adidapo. I am the founder of Piythia. Piythia is a autonomous trading platform that specializes in using real-time market data to make intelligent decisions at the strategy level. So the idea behind Piythia is to basically create custom strategies and catalog strategies and to be able to backtest them in various market simulations. So one of those simulations is to backtest that particular strategy and idea. The second strategy layer is to test that idea in the market when it's live. And then finally, using that information to create some type of intelligence and metrics to deploy the agent with an asset in the live market using real money. So this is the Surge platform that is actually sponsoring a lot of the early foundations and as far as like getting users, having users view the product and seeing a close detail and what users are doing, like myself. Just a quick summary of fundraising, the project, things about like the users, different like perks and things you can get. But let's get into it. This is the platform URL. If you want to check it out, I'll post it in the chat or in the video. So yeah, let's get to the platform. So here is the platform itself. In the dashboard, here we have a generalized description of the portfolio and financial assets that is captured for the user for their particular portfolio. So for instance, this will be like the user's net worth, calculates the monthly income that comes from the agent, the stock portfolio, active credits and wallets, recent transactions, a performance overview that lets you change depending on the days, global market pulse, just stock information. Later, we plan to pretty much use intelligent sentiments to basically feed into the agent. That's a little bit later. So for instance, if there's like different like stock news that maybe triggers a different asset to, trend downward or upward, that's something that we're working on, taking that information and to use it later. And then the portfolio is just a more detailed analysis of what the agents are doing. So for instance, in your holding, if an agent bought $45 shares of Apple at this market price, you would see the change in the total value. And it would kind of just display here in this general area if that asset wasn't showed. So it's basically a way to create a accounting system of what the agent is actually doing. So going here into the actual strategy layer is where the user and the autonomous agent will be able to select which strategy is to be, which strategy will run against what asset, right? So here we have a couple different strategies that the user and the Oracle can select. And later on, we plan to have large language models that will convert natural language into strategies that users can test and kind of use in their custom deployment. And then here we have the agent center is pretty much where it shows the live metrics of what the agent is actually doing to the user. So for instance, all of these are stopped. I'll show a live one pretty soon before the market close. So there's indicators to show you that the market is open. So if we just click one of these really quick, we'll see that we get different risk adjust ratio metrics, different risk exposure metrics, expected return metrics, performance window metrics. Um, and then as well as our execution stream that pretty much just defines the execution of how an agent is doing and a timeline of the um, trading map. So for instance, here we have in the green, that means that that's where the signal was bought. I'm sorry, the asset was bought. Um, in the red, that's where the asset was sold. Working on fixing that. I'm getting this little error in here. I don't know why that keeps popping up. I think maybe because I'm running so much stuff at one time. Let me check my system. Seems to be fine. Not sure. Maybe it's just a routing issue from all the points. Oh my goodness. Get out of here. Oh, it's going crazy. Okay, yeah. So going back to that, sorry about that. So here, yeah. Here's a more detailed overview of what the agent sees as it's running. Like I said, right now this agent is no longer alive. I think there was some data piled up from last time it was ran. Um, so for instance, it has the realized P&L, the entry price, it'll calculate the stop loss, the quantity, the risk amount, the real-time market data that comes in that gets pretty much correlated, and there's a bunch of different calculations that happen to pretty much give you a detail on how that agent, how the market is being observed, and that information is fed into the agent to help it make decisions. And those decisions sometimes correlate to things like either liquidation, if it detects that the risk is terminated, if the risk needs to be terminated, which means that the agent needs to be terminated. Risk on, which means that it's going to allow different positioning resizing. So for instance, if this asset was on NVIDIA and NVIDIA is doing pretty good, or there's an opportunity for NVIDIA to do better, what it would do is it would pretty much just go in and just, allocate more money to that particular agent for it to increase its position size, or it would smartly sell those positions to, minimize the risk and have the user stay within your risk. Another thing I would like to show you guys before I start a live test is show you the different settings. So when I first developed this product and I shipped it off to users for a hackathon, a lot of the feedback that I got from it was basically, how does a user feel comfortable with having an agent pretty much use their money, and it's a lot of risk, and how do you build trust with the application like that. And my idea was to pretty much create a risk-based approach to where the user's risk is always kept in mind. So for instance, one of the things that Piythia always keeps in mind is that the risk and the user's performance is always prioritized. So yes, there is an Oracle, an AI mechanism that can pretty much run the stocks for you, pretty much go in here and figure out what's the gainers and losers before the market opens, and kind of build a list and a correlation to figure out how that stock is doing, and actually target that stock so a user doesn't have to manually plug in that stock. It'll automatically go in there and get that information for you as well. So another thing too, A user can play with the execution time of the model or the platform itself, which means that you can analyze charts and execute charts in various formats. So right now I have it configured to um, sleep for 5 seconds. So that means that the agent is trading on a second or microsecond execution layer at the strategy level, um, and it is fixed to where either a user can have a fixed quantity amount, which means that every agent that you run will have that fixed amount, or you can allocate a risk-based approach, which means that, for instance, if we go back to our total net worth, if this was our total net worth in our account and we went in here and set our percentage to our setting to 10%, each agent would be allocated 10% of the total net worth for each agent. And that's just the maximum that the agent would be allowed to trade at a given time. Not necessarily the it would take that as the cap size, but it would know that this is the amount I can trade up into, and there's different things that the user can do as far as like enabling different features to allow the agent to go past that cap if the market conditions are favorable. So I'm gonna go in here and pretty much set my risk to 10%. I'm gonna save that. Another thing too, if this is your first time using the platform, you will have to go to Alpaca and create a paper account and pretty much get the API keys. And right now we support Alpaca. Kraken is in the works, and Coinbase and Binance we plan to have them in later. But for now, Alpaca, we're using Alpaca. So you'll take your API keys, plug them in. Don't let anyone see your API keys, and then hit this button. I've already done it, obviously, and then you'll see down here that it's paper, and then you can save. In this particular beta test mode, I've disabled the live trading feature with real money, just to work out some of the the kinks and make sure everything is working as it should, right? So, yeah, that's pretty much a good explanation of the settings and what that does. And so let's try to run a real strategy right now. So let's try to run a back test, and keep in mind, so we don't want to do Apple. I don't want to do one I already have. So let's do AMD, and I'm going to pick today's day, April 29th. So I'm going to say April 29th. You can also click 26. I'm going to say April 15th to 2026, 25. That seems like a good short amount of days. And I will run I'll run a back test. Give me 1 second. I just want to verify. Get my logs up so I can see what's happening. So yeah, let's run this. So we see as it is run, it gets queued. And I forgot to mention, if you're just back testing in the platform, you do not need to use the API keys. You only need to use them when you're running in live. So the back test is going. Also forgot to mention that at the bottom of each agent, there's a log that pretty much tells you what exactly is going on for that agent. So if we go to the top, we see that the agent filled an order, it placed an order, it bought 39 shares of AMD at the market price, at the current market price at that time. It got the signal to attack long, and then it sold 43 for a profit capture. Let's see, I can't actually see what the profit capture was. It's coming in so fast. That's why I should have chose a later date. But I'm sorry, a shorter date. Orders sell filled at 281. So it's still running. So it says that the realized P&L for this strategy, we have $3,608.62. This was our entry price, and this was our stop loss. And this is and the stop loss is automatically calculated by the system. And these are the return metrics of what happened, which is actually not too bad. And then another thing too, as users run backtest, there is a feature that keeps reading the models to determine when's the best, basically a feedback loop learning mechanism that allows the user to continue to build confidence in the platform itself. So all of these metrics get stored in the database, and the Oracle can look at this information and pretty much correlate it and take a snapshot and a picture with different things that are going on. So at the intelligence layer, you have the asset itself, real-time analysis of the asset itself. So that's pretty much a snapshot of how this stock is doing, right? As far as the opens, the close, the volume, it reads all of that, and it gets a certain amount of bars, right? So what it'll do is it'll capture, let's say for instance, we don't need any specific dates, but let's say for instance, since we just ran that back test, what it would do is it would take the information from here to a certain point, and it would pretty much look at the candles that are within that certain portion and kind of build an inference on what's going on and when you should approach. And that helps kind of build your regime allocation factor along with your global market detection, which kind of correlates different things about how is the market performing overall, not just the asset. So the regime allocation does two things. It looks at the asset individually and looks at the market and how that market affects that asset, right? So there's a lot of ins and outs that I can talk about and discuss on another live stream. But that kind of, just a summary, that kind of just builds an inference on exactly what that agent is being told what to do, right? From the regime and allocation standpoint. And from there, the strategy layer basically knows when to execute different trades and things of that nature. So all that information goes into a database to help the system say, hey, I know that this was a successful run. I know that this was a bad run. I know that we used a momentum strategy at this given time. The regime allocation was this. The reason to cause that regime allocation or that change was this. So that pretty much gives you a good picture of which asset and which strategy performs at what time and at what different metrics. So we'll go ahead and run a live test really quickly. And we're just gonna do the same thing. I think we targeted AMD. Is that correct? I think we targeted AMD. Let's see. AMD. Yes, that was the back test on AMD. So let's do that again. So let's just go to the strategy center, hit momentum, say AMD. And when you're running a live bot, you do not need to enter anything in the backtest window because you're not testing any particular time frame. The live mode happens to it starts when you execute. It ends either when the user ends it, or if you have the Oracle system enable, it ends when it tells it to. Or like I said, the user can end it itself. So we're gonna run this. So we have it here. It tried to do some reconciliation. I'll talk about the reconciliation on another live stream, maybe tomorrow, after we, fix some bugs and things like that. So here we have it where it bought 38 shares of AMD at the market price of $338.73. Went a little over with 5, but rounded up 74. And then we can go into our Alpaca account and kind of see that it bought the same thing, right? So, and keep in mind this is paper, but this is pretty much the same flow it would take if it were in a real life situation. So another thing that I'm also working on too is and it's funny, it just happened as I was speaking about it. So it basically detected that it wasn't a good time to sell. I'm sorry, to buy that asset. It maybe because it was too high, and it kind of just sold it. But what I'm working on now is pretty much creating an more intelligent system to basically figure out when's the best time to enter instead of coming on immediately and buying. So that is one of the limitations that is present right now in the beta test mode, or the beta tier. That's something that we're working on changing as well, but that is something that is not a huge problem, but that is something that we need to fix to make the application of the platform more successful, because it is taking in real-time market data. So it would be more beneficial to pretty much figure out when is the best time to enter the trade, and not so much on when to exit the trade. So yeah. So yeah, and the reason why a lot of these metrics say not available is because the system hasn't detected enough bars to pretty much populate those fields. So pretty sure by the next time I have a live stream, those should be fixed. And basically right now what the system is doing is it's buying AMD over and over, pretty much calculating different scenarios and when it should buy and sell. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And that is Piythia. So yeah, so more to come. I know that's probably a very long-winded synopsis of Piythia, but yeah. So this is the Piythia platform. It does a lot. So, but it's all in one. It's all in one platform, and I envisioned a system when I designed this to create a system to where everything isn't fragmented. Like I don't have to go to one particular application to read a signal or analyze a chart. Um, I don't need to copy that and then go to another platform and copy that because what that does is that creates a fragmented workflow, and the time it takes to create that um, the time it takes to execute that fragmented workflow, you're constantly missing out on different opportunities, things that can make the trade profitable, different metrics that you could take in at the software level and not do too much manual analysis. Is to create a system to where a lot of the approaches are deterministic so that they can be repeated over and over, and it can be exploited through relearning mechanisms and to basically create a quant engine at the hedge fund level that is available to the everyday user to pretty much manage and consolidate their profile based on that user's risk and what that user wants to um, uh, how much they want to grow their portfolio. So yeah, that's Piythia, and my name is Elijah Adedapo, and I had a pleasure. Thank you. Bye bye.